So much Senoni action this week. Why won't you let me drink? Galaxy Blade, what are you doing on Zio's forehead? Damn, Spacevi, still locked up? I'm over here enjoying a nice beverage of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. I hear Senoni's in this episode a lot, so I'm gonna be drinking up. You bitch! You're the reason! Why do we keep falling for the bait of episode previews for DonBros? We should know better by now. The community was running rampant talking about a certain red guy, and no, I don't mean me. No one likes me. But all the talk for Sonoshi after last week's episode just for this fake out. Boy, this is one hell of a Monster of the Week twist, so let's get back to basics with DonBros. Episode 37. 37? Where does the time go? Roll call! We get one at the start, with the Noto and the DonBros trying to settle the score. But it's a setup that kind of feels like Deja Vu, I just been in this place before. With a bit of remix. So let's flash back to how we got here. The Noto have been getting too buddy-buddy with the DonBros. Sonoza is still helping Haruka's slump as a mangaka. Meanwhile, Senoni dies! This is the hardest bet ever. Ugh. What the hell is wrong with you? Drink up! Drink! I don't care if you have a bet with Galaxy Blade. Drink! But that 5 CSM, the Excel, the Fies Blaster, my fucking money! Oh fuck, that's all I've got left? Shit. You know what? I'll just suck up air. I'll just suck up air. Back to Senoni being happy about Tsubasa no longer being a Juto. Who released him? Nunya. All this while being followed by someone clearly prepping for a swingers party. While the Rose head out to get some nudes from the former Deca Ranger Hitotsuki, Senoi and crew show up to get their regulars. Senoi even becoming a real expert on the meals. But when Taro downplays Senoi's experience, it's a game of telephone, since he doesn't want to talk to Taro. It's like when you're mad at your friend for a stupid reason, but you're like 8 years old, so you don't want to talk to them. So you get others to relay the message, but it gets all jacked up by the time it gets to them. In this case, it's a statement about Taro's arrogance. Becomes free lunch by the end of the train. How about we try that again? Well, of course not. Swinging on by to get between those peaches and nudes is the most germophobic swinger I've ever seen. Not that I've seen any. He talks about this man's food being limp and moist. It's not exactly their cup of tea. But when questioned by Taro, it's the Song of Anoni to be played. As they fight them, swinging by Cloaked Rider reveals himself to the Noto as Sonoshi, taking the Noto and Anoni with him. He's now the boss of the crew, after the Noto stopped yielding results and started becoming homies with the DonBros. What happened? Well, Senoi was first responsible for bringing Taro back from Cube Space. Meanwhile, why is it raining outside? See? That's a sign! Senoni's been getting too close to doggy-style action, and Sonoza is doing what now with Haruka? Rules are rules, and Sonoshi demands that they clear the mess that is the DonBros, or else it's maximum scrubbing for them. And when they challenge them, they have to do it all flashy, like a roll call or some shit like that. Taking the message delivery upon himself, he busts in on the DonBros and all over them at that, informing them that he set up a duel to settle things. But Taro always fights for real. Not as far as Sonoshi's concerned. After all, Haruka's been editing with Sonoza, calling her out like that and sprinkling some gold dust. It's time to twinkle out of here. Shinichi figures if Haruka and Sonoza are a thing, and Taro's been giving Senoi DTF eyes, then maybe he should try to sweet talk Senoni. Hey, wait, hold on, what? I may not be drinking, but okay, alright, that's more like it. Back to Sonoshi blasting folks with his white powder and playing the Song of Anoni. Taking everyone away to, I don't know, get feasted on by Noto? Dude's acting kinda sus. Kinda like a Hitotsuki. So much so that it triggers the DonBros being summoned. So Sonoshi transforms and takes them on directly. Though, Not before the Notos start cheering for the bros over this guy, clearly overwhelming them, but not wanting to take the spoils away from the main crew. He leaves. The Noto makes themselves known and Tsubasa gets in the way just to get yeeted by Don Momo. The Noto just want to talk about what's been going on, while Shinichi tries sweet-talking Sononi when... The Noto want to take down Tsunoshi, but it's not typically allowed. But if they could make him become a Hitotsuki, then it's all fair game. How do they do that? Well, they just have to find someone on the verge of becoming one, snatch that skill, and move it on over to him. Who could be that guy? Well, Taro seems to know. The best character in DonBros returns? But how? Sonoi killed him, and we know what happens when the Noto beats a Hitotsuki. They're done. Well, a quick production note from the writers indicate that after getting Taro's juices, Sonoi no longer beats the Hitotsuki to death, and instead purifies them just like the DonBros do. That's a setup we'll get to later. Snatching up that Hitotsuki seed from Minoru, it's time to lay the bait. The Noto inform Taro that they're gonna be doing a roll call, and Taro says it's only fair if they do the same. So with that, roll call time! See, the Noto keep it very vanilla and with the explosions, and the DonBros hit that rocky road with pistachio sauce since Jiro shows up to mess up the finale. Also, no explosions. We get the most convincing stage fight ever. It's almost like the suit actors knew what they were doing, even with a finishing blow that has Taro lie about the impact, since in this case, his payback for lying is exactly what the doctor ordered, with him dying. Tsunoshi falling for the bait, gets penetrated from the back and becomes the Ginga Man Hitotsuki. The gambit pays off, Momo is back, and the Noto take the fight directly to Tsunoshi. But when Sonoi hesitates, it's a Golden Tora Bolt finisher that cleanses this man to bigly proportions. But this is DonBros, so you know this fight lasts like a minute. After being cleaned up, Tsunoshi takes his anger out the door. But why did Sonoi not finish him? He can't strike his own people. We now join Dr. Tsuyoshi, coming home to see his Miho. But since the blow-up doll supplier ran out of stock, he had to settle for a real doll instead. Rating time! So this episode of DonBros tricked us into thinking that we were gonna get a new multi-character arc, or even DonBros leading to the finale with a big bad. And folks, fell for the bait again. You gotta stop doing that to yourselves. Tsunoshi was an interesting addition, but given his antics, I'm glad he only lasted for one episode with the potential final appearance down the line. If anything, the major highlights come from what wasn't said in this episode. It was a good episode, and with that, it's gonna get the Ava Ranger A! Right? I've been saying it for a while now that if you look at the Noto now versus their debut, they have become way more human in their attitude and how they play themselves off. Being more plastic at first, you can feel their personalities shining more brightly now. The thing now is just how much they've become like the DonBros themselves. Since now, with Sonoi being unable to fully defeat Hitotsuki and instead purifying them like Taro, is there really any need for them to be at odds? Absolutely not. A lot of their original infights had to deal with how they handled Hitotsuki, but with that wedge out the way, the playing field on this is on similar terrain. But I think Tsunoshi not being defeated by Sonoi adds a bit of a delay between the Noto Council finding out. Since if Sonoi did defeat Tsunoshi's Hitotsuki, he'd come to the realization that his powers have been fundamentally altered. This could be why he was not present when getting the Hitotsuki seed from Minoru, because he himself would question it. After all, if the Noto Council did find out that Sonoi was now essentially useless to them, then what would even be the point? This could be the heel turn needed for them to officially switch sides as we get the real villain coming up, which I still believe to be the Juto that captured Natsumi, which is likely the Penguin Juto, and yada yada. I know, folks still think it's Black Kaito. I still don't believe so. If it is, I'll do the entire Zenkaidra dance begrudgingly. No one tell Toei that I said that, or else now it's actually gonna happen. Now on to Tsuyoshi, who is definitely a character that I feel has the most mental instabilities out of everyone here. And what's so real about him is that you mostly only see this side of him when he's alone. Most of the time he seems so straight-laced when in the presence of the main crew. But when he's alone, you really see how messed up in the head this guy is. taking his depressive, manic, and depraved state and playing it up to an nth degree when left to his own devices. I really hope that we get resolution to all this, unless it's Tsuyoshi who actually ends up being the main villain of the story, which would be crazy, yet believable at the same time. If there's anything to learn when it comes to speculating about DonBros, is you can't speculate on DonBros. Also, before people ask me what I think of Sonoshi's suit, it's red, so of course I like it. If they manage to redo this artwork and just have him slide on in, I'm gonna have to completely re-plagiarize it just to update this piece. Anyway, what did you all think about this week's Noto Brothers? Sonoshi's White Powder Golden Dust, Minoru not being dead, and Tsuyoshi's Dollhouse. That's it for me. Keep the homies close and the psychos out of your life. Until next time, bye.